Welcome to Three Grown Girls, a podcast where we discuss issues that affect women as they navigate the 21st century. This is a space created by Jamaican women to discuss topics of importance to us. We're talking relationships, money, career, and the varied things in between. Through it all, we encourage women to live their best lives. As women in our 40s and with the benefit of hindsight and experience, we nurture this space, a safe space to explore the lived experiences not only of ourselves, but also of others. Our co hosts include yours truly, Petre, the cool, calm, and collected voice of reason, or, so I'm told, the candid and spirited Caroline, who says what others are thinking but won't say, and Sarah, who always holds us down with an analytical and spiritual viewpoint. Thank you for joining. We are happy you are here. Now, don't forget to share this podcast with a friend and stay tuned.
Hi, ladies. How are you? Welcome back to another episode.
Hi.
How are you guys?
Hi, and Happy New Year. It's 2023.
I know,
2023,
right?
baby.
Yeah.
Well, that's a wrap for season one. It had its challenges, but it was great, right?
Yeah,
So therapeutic and most of all, so much fun.
yeah,
Wouldn't you guys agree?
definitely. It's a learning process, but we're getting better as we go along. So it's fun.
Amen to that. Amen
Good
to
journey.
that. So this is a wrap session, right? We wanted to do a wrap session to kind of reflect on the season, to formally introduce ourselves to the audience a little better, and to
Whatever
kind
that
of
is.
look whatever that is, and to kind of look towards season two. So let's get started. How did we come about? Well,
Whoopsie.
we are real friends in real life, right? Carlin and I worked together over a decade ago.
Yeah.
And she migrated to Canada many years ago. We kept in touch somewhat, but it's since I have moved to Canada we have really reignited a
Yeah.
friendship,
Yeah.
right, Carol?
Definitely.
Petra and I went to grad school together. We kind of lost touch for a little tiny bit,
Oh, you did?
and not really lose touch, but you know,
Yeah.
kind of like us,
Graduated.
Carol. Yeah.
And they're
But
becoming professional women. Yes.
exactly. But then we reunited and I've been as thick as thieves since.
Yeah. Yes.
Carlin and Pedo were not friends before this podcast, guys. Um, the podcast brought them together, so
And I'm
they're
loving Petre.
Yeah, yes. Listen, no, like for real, it's like a match made in podcast heaven.
Oh, we have so much
Heaven's
in
sake.
common. We do. We do.
I call it the name of me is but Aria Megan, which will not get
Amen.
yeah. So Carlin and I live in Canada. And he is still in Jamaica, which I'm so grudging you right now, because we have
I'm on
winter
the rock.
yesterday, and me that love some sunlight.
Oh, yes.
Come on down. Yes.
Okay.
So that's who we are to each other. Did I leave out anything, guys? Anything we
Let's
want
talk
to add?
about Andreen. It was actually supposed to be four of us.
Right, yeah. So that's
Yes.
what we're going to talk about now. So that was about how we are friends in real life, but now we can talk
Okay.
about how we came together. I think I can safely say we all had our own separate ideas of doing a podcast,
Yes,
like individual desire, and
definitely.
this one kind of cosmically brought us together. P and I had always thought to collaborate, but I thought we were more thinking written projects.
Magazine.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
she called me out the blue one day and said, Sarah, podcast. And I
Ah,
was ready because a podcast is something Andreen and I were talking about for years. Andreen is our other friend who was originally part of the podcast. She started with us, she did a lot of the groundwork, but she had to step away for a bit. So you never know. maybe one day 3 grown girls will become 4 grown girls, or 3 grown girls plus one.
Yes. Andrine is our
So
plus one,
Yeah,
yes,
even if she's in the wings, she's
yeah,
our plus one.
exactly.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
And then Andrine and Carlin were also talking about doing podcasts. So all of us talking about doing podcasts. So we kind of all came together. And that's basically it, right, guys? What have I left out that the audience would want to know about how
I
we
think
came
that's
together?
it. Yeah, we basically had some idea of wanting to share our own experiences, as women who are over 40, and lessons learned. And, we have talked about it at different times, and especially having Sarah and Andrine in Canada, and we have reignited that flame that we had. We were a threesome in Jamaica because we all
Yes,
worked together. So coming to
yes.
Canada and coming back together and having those belly laughs when we
Oh
go out to
gosh,
dinner or for drinks
yes,
or just on the phone, and we thought that we have so much lively conversations, it would be perfect for a podcast.
yes.
No,
Put the
listen.
talk to good use. So this is a good one. I'm not cutting you, P. I'm gonna let you talk, but this is a good segue now to talk about the concept. So let's clarify the concept of the podcast, because we've gotten a lot of feedback from our listeners,
Yeah.
and some people get it, and some people, may think that the concept should be something different. So let's talk about what the concept is. How do you guys define the concept?
Petra, you want to go
Okay,
first?
yeah, yeah, right. But before I get to the concept, I was gonna say that to the point that Carolyn and Sarah, you guys are making, that I was kind of the classic fourth wheel. Because in truth and in fact, I never had any desire or intention to do a podcast.
Are you
Mm-hmm.
serious?
And
And you're
no,
so
No,
good
P,
at
I
it.
thought you did. I know we never talk about collaborating on it. You called me out the blue, but
right.
I really thought you did.
No, what you and I talked about, and you said I think we were searching for ways to collaborate and do something. So every now and again we have this conversation. So what we can do together, and of
It's
course
right.
we're both writers, so we're always kind of thinking some kind of writing project.
Yeah.
And then
Mm-hmm.
it was one evening,
You just
I
called me out
come
the
into
blue.
my doors, I call you, and you were telling me, you're saying that, yo, I have some girlfriends in Canada, and we've been talking about doing a podcast, and then I was like, we should do that. I would do that. And then
So
it kind
Sarah,
of
you were always saying
just
about
went.
including Petra. Yeah. Like you have a friend in
Yeah,
Jamaica who would be perfect for it.
Yes, yes.
yeah. She really perfect for it. That's why I thought we had probably. I know we talked about doing something, some
Hmm.
kind of writing project, but
Yeah, and we're still talking about the writing projects.
one
And we're
hundred
now
percent, one
roping in
hundred
Carolyn
percent.
into the writing project.
Oh yes.
Right?
Remember the name of we not call her earlier, yeah, man. She this sound like a perfect writer name. Um,
Exactly. Yes, but you were asking about the
but
concept,
P,
though.
you surprised me though, the fact that you really stepped out of your comfort zone, because generally, Peter is not the one to step out of her comfort zone like that to go on a podcast with people she don't know. So yes, she know me, and me and her are a good friend, but she never know Carolyn and Andrew.
Yes.
So kudos to you, P, stepping out of your comfort zone.
There you go. There you go. I'm proof positive that stepping out of that zone sometimes hugely beneficial, because one, I get some really wonderful friends. I mean, Carolyn and Andrine are really two cool ladies.
Thank you. You are
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
too.
no,
and my friend them
I'm
them are for
no,
cool.
yeah, all right, see that, right? Right? No, and so it's nice to, like I said, to have stepped out of your comfort zone, one, but to also have acquired two good friends as well,
Right.
and to be engaged in something that you are, interested in as a
Yeah.
collective. And we
Yeah.
feel like we're doing some good stuff here. So
So
Good.
yeah,
so I hope the listeners get that. We are real friends in real life. We're not just doing a podcast together. We're real friends in real life. In terms of the concept, I could start. It's really, we want to create an atmosphere of girls just chatting over drinks, and you, the listener, kind of overhearing us in the other booth in the restaurant. That's the concept we were going for. We don't come at the table as experts in anything other than 3 women in our 40s with some experience we wish to share.
yeah.
Simply because we love to talk. not just because we love to talk, but we want to stir discussion. What else? We want to bring awareness to issues and truly help build up other women, or some topics will just be for fun, you know.
Yeah,
Not everything we talk about will be deeply profound.
right.
And that's simply our platform. We have opinions and we want to share it, right,
Yeah,
guys? What would you add to
definitely.
that?
I agree with you, Sarah. I think from the pilot test that we did, we got a lot of different feedback. So it's important for people to understand that we are really not coming from a place of being an expert or a sociologist or a psychologist or anything. We're just
Right.
women who have experiences. We want to share those experiences. And, I'm sure there are other women out there who are going through the same thing that we have gone through,
Mm-hmm.
or, it's have the same issues that we have had or is going through, and just to have that platform to share as you would with friends. And of
Right.
course, usually we have a lot of fun, lot of laughter. Sometimes we're arguing, sometimes we're agreeing. So it's really a more casual podcast that we
Yes.
want to have. We're not,
That's it. You hit the nail on the
yeah,
head, Caroline. A casual podcast,
casual
right?
podcast.
Yeah. And when
No,
we
can
yeah,
I just jump
okay,
in
go ahead,
here?
P.
And
Yeah, no
yeah,
problem.
let me just say that this is my coasting zone. This is my
As a career
yeah,
communication
yeah.
specialist.
Yes.
Listen, listeners, we are professional women who are all expert out. Like we're
Yeah,
expert
we're tired out.
in other spaces. We're exhausted in those spaces.
Yes.
We come to this space
To drink
Good
some
pieces.
wine
to
That
and
chill
is
chat.
out.
true.
Yes,
That is
yes,
true. We're not
right.
writing pieces here. We're not
No,
doing peer reviewed articles. We're just chatting.
Yes.
no,
And
no,
sometimes
we're
we'll
not.
have statistics, sometimes it will be
Yes.
Yes,
anecdotal,
Right.
sometimes we'll have gems,
exactly.
and sometimes we'll have none, right?
Right.
Right.
But we will always stir discussion. That is it. We'll
Yes.
always
Right.
stir discussion.
Sounds
That's
All
good.
the expertise we have is our experience, and for us, that is
it's a
what it is.
lot.
That's what we want it to be. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so let me pass the baton to Carolyn. So this voice, guys, you'll have to learn our voices. We try to throw to each other and call our names as much as possible, but we believe that we have three very distinct voices. And over time, if you stay with us, you will learn it. So this is Sarah talking now, and I'm passing the baton to Caroline.
Yeah, so this is Carolyn talking. I mean, one of our feedback was that they were not able to distinguish who's talking. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of find that hard to believe because as Sarah said, we have three distinctive voices. But over time, you'll learn who is speaking, and you'll find that I'm the one who's always agitated and probably talking
As the
louder than
intro
I should be
says.
talking, right? So, we have done 6 podcasts to date, right? We have six
Mm-hmm.
different
Five,
podcasts that we have done, and
five.
five. So yeah, five that we
For
have done in
season
our
one,
first
yes.
season. And, we did a pilot test. We've gotten a lot of feedback. Some of it was very constructive, some of it is not in keeping with our objective for this podcast. So I'm throwing
Mm-hmm.
out to you guys now, because we're looking to make season two better. So we're looking at, personally, what were some of the highlights for the season for you? What were some of your best podcasts that you enjoyed the most? And what were some of the challenges or your least podcast? And what are some of the opportunities that we can take to make our podcast better going forward?
Carolyn, me feel like me interview. Yeah, me they want interview and just give me a three-part question
Sarah man,
where
partner,
me have to go remember.
you want me to go
But
first?
okay, but it was wonderful with you ladies. I must say, I'm happy that we pushed through and did it. And you guys are legitimate podcasters now with podcasts on Spotify. So big up on a good clean self, right? But for me, let me start by saying my favorite episode was Mind Your Own Womb, because I think we got very personal and very candid and very vulnerable. And we got a lot of good feedback about that episode in terms of, you know, there are things that we pointed out that people said they never thought about. My only regret with that episode, and maybe in the future we'll flesh it out more, is we spoke a lot about the fact that some women are really okay, and that should be okay if they don't want to have kids. But I don't think we gave enough credence to the women that are struggling, that will now have to swallow this pill that they will never conceive or never have a child, right? And what they should be going through. I don't think we spent enough time on that. Um, my least favorite episode was marriage and commitment, almost for the same reason why I love Mind Your Own Womb. In that, guys, are you there?
Yep.
In that,
Yeah, man, we're here. We're here.
in that, I feel like I'm talking too much of my business. And I don't know if I adequately explain the Christian perspective. I tried, but
Mhm.
yeah. So I would say my favorite was Mind Your Own Womb, and yeah, Marriage and Commitment was a good podcast. It was excellent. I think Caroline asked some excellent questions, but I did feel kind of exposed, right? No regrets though, no regrets, but just saying. Um, I think moving forward for me, Caroline, you were asking that what we think we could do different. I know I can definitely say a lot less and, and not be so repetitive sometimes, which I can be, on a personal level. And I think we as a team can keep the podcast a little shorter, which we've really started to try and do. And as much as we say this is really a very casual podcast, and that's the concept that the three of us are sold on, as the content creators for this podcast, that's what we want to do. I still would want us to give a little bit more, not everything so anecdotal, we'll give a little bit more factual information. Yeah, so that's me. Over to you, Petre.
Um, what was my favorite episode? It's
Come
all a
on, P, you had
blur.
enough time to think.
Um,
You never think while me a talk, lady?
It's all a
hey,
blur.
it's all a blur. It's all a blur. I'm kidding. I too, I think my favorite, or one of my favorite. Honestly, I think I enjoyed all the episodes.
Yeah, ditto.
One because the progression over time kind of, I think, um showed our own progression. We kind of got a little bit more relaxed with talking about our different perspectives. And yeah, while we say it is like it's this is a casual podcast, the truth is that it is not that casual. We
Mm-hmm.
are talking about stories from our lives, which we are the experts at, quite
Mm-hmm.
frankly. And that is what we want to give back to the world. We want to say we've
Yeah,
had some experiences, and we want people to take something from this to the extent that they can. So
right.
I really enjoyed all the podcasts, but again, maybe I have a little bit of a preference for the Mind Your Own Womb, because that was such a personal story to me, given my own
Mm-hmm.
experience. And I think also because quite a lot of women are having these struggles, whether it is that
Yes.
have children and had issues trying to conceive those kids, or they're trying to conceive children and are having challenges. And so
Right.
we're honest, or they don't have no pitney and they don't want any, but they're grappling with society's expectation.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
wherever on the spectrum a woman falls, I think that is a topic that really, has wonderful meaning for them. And I think that goes across a number of barriers, whether it's racial barriers, class barriers,
Mm-hmm.
even gender barriers, because I think we touched a little bit too on how men sometimes are impacted
Yes.
in that kind of mix. And so yeah, that would have been my absolute favorite. The thing about our podcast is that we don't always find the time to schedule. I think we did 5 episodes, and believe me, it was a labor of love, because it may have taken us a whole
Caroline, we're
year.
not saying nothing. We're not saying a word.
Right? It literally, I think, took us like a year to record those 5 episodes. So, this is what the classic case of, people see you going about your business, but they don't realize just how much effort you put into it. And so this podcast really has been a labor of love, which is something again that I think I take a little bit of pride in that we, I think you said it earlier, Sarah, that we muscled through quite a lot in order
Yes.
to give something of ourselves to the world. And you know that's something that warms my heart.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, it is a challenge. It is a challenge to get it done. It's not always the easiest thing to schedule, and of course, we are constantly subject to the vagaries of technology. Somebody's dropping off or chipping out, and then, as we
Right.
said earlier, we're all in different spaces. So even though Carolyn and Sarah are in Canada together, they're not in the same physical space. They're not in the same
Right.
house. And then,
Right.
of course, I'm all the way in Jamaica. But thank God for technology. We've been
Yeah.
able to kind of get it together and make this thing happen. Um,
Awesome.
I'm trying to figure out if there's something else that Caroline had asked that we needed to comment on. I can't
You mean
recall.
our 3 point
Opportunities.
interview
What are the
question?
opportunities? Opportunities.
What you do
Right.
different, P? Yes.
Yeah. What am I gonna do different? Try to pencil this in and keep the hound dogs in my other spaces at bay.
No
Um,
comment.
yeah, right. What would I do different? Well, yeah, I think that's the thing I would do different. And opportunities, I think we have a world of opportunities. We have opportunities to engage with our listeners in different spaces. So we put this podcast out on Spotify. Thanks to Sarah, by the way, who is our tech guru.
Yes.
To
Really
give us
no.
other episodes. He sorts through all the mess of the recording to give something that makes sense to people listening. Um, but yeah, I kind of lost my trail of thought again. Maybe this is an over 40 thing. Oh my God. Whoa, yeah, the opportunities. So I think we do have a world of opportunities to engage a little bit more with our listeners in different spaces outside of this. So on our individual social media um platforms, as well as through our Three Grown Girls platform, which we have on Twitter. So at Three Grown Girls, you can follow us there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, and already based on the reviews, I mean, we had sent out the 5 episodes for folks to listen to and to give us some feedback.
And it's been
Um,
great. It's been
and
wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that in itself provides some opportunities because that feedback now, I mean, already I'm getting from people, boy, you guys should talk about this issue.
Yes,
Yes.
So we're
yes.
gonna take some of that on board as well. So I think the world is our oyster, and
Yeah.
as long as we keep it together, we're having fun. There's good chemistry. It's always a good vibe. I think we can do whatever. Yeah.
Perfect.
Over to you, Carolyn. So that was Petra. No, it's Carolyn.
Again, we're trying to make people know that we have distinct voices. So yes, over to Carolyn, the loud one. I'm usually the very loud one, so you won't miss me too much. Um, for me, I really enjoy the season. I love the commitment that we all bring to this, even though half the time we can't find Petrie. When we
Yep.
do find her, it's we just run through and we have
She
a
show up,
blast.
man.
So
That
I
is
really
it.
like the
Yeah.
commitment that is there. I like that we have that synergy among the three of us that makes it easy and we feed off each other. So that is something that I really like. I love that we get to bring our authentic selves to our podcast. And we can talk about our own experiences, and that is basically what we want to do. In terms of
Amen. Mm-hmm.
the episode, I actually love the one about commitment, and I like it because it's something that has been a pet peeve of mine,
Mm-hmm.
where people love to talk about commitment and it's a equal marriage, or if you're not married you're not committed. And I kind of wanted to bring a different perspective to it, that people say pretty much like people decide that they want to have children or not to have children. People should have the right to decide if they want to get married or not get married. And
Mm-hmm.
society just stay out of it, Sarah. Right?
Right.
So I kind of like that. And I think it was, for me, it was, my most interesting one because I really had a lot to say on the topic. As you will learn, if you haven't listened, go listen now.
Yes. And you asked
Um,
some really good questions in that podcast, though, I must say.
Yeah.
I My least favorite one. It's not my least favorite one, but it's one that I really liked, and I think that was a friendship one, because again,
Mm-hmm.
we are three friends coming together. We met at different stages in our lives, and we talked about friendship. And as we would have talked about after the podcast, we failed to mention the kind of friend that we are. The kind
Right.
of friendship that we bring, because we're talking about what we want from other people. We didn't talk about what other people should expect from us, kind of thing. So I
Yeah.
think that is something that we probably could do
A
another
part
part
two.
of, and kind of
Yeah.
flesh out who we are
Yeah.
as friends to other people and so forth.
Yeah. And
But
people are really asking about that card, and people really
right.
want us to do a part two to that
So
one.
I
Yeah.
really think, yeah, that is something. It's not I wouldn't say it's my least favorite, but it's one that I think we probably need to flesh out a little bit more. I actually like all the podcasts. I keep telling them this, I hate how I sound, but I'm getting used to my voice. So, I'm trying to be a lot more clearer, to speak slower. And in terms of opportunities for me, I think that much what Sarah said, we probably need to be a lot more succinct, not take an hour to do a podcast, but try to say what we have to say in a 45-minute time span. And for
Yeah.
me, it's not repeating myself over and over again, which I tend to do. And I need to learn to stop speaking over other people. And I know that comes from my passion. And when I have a point, I'm very passionate about it. I'm learning to be more tempered and to allow everyone their space to say what they want to say before I jump in.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to, a lot more in terms of our podcast. We're looking to getting, guest speakers on, having guests on our podcast, and trying to build it in a way that it's more interesting, informative, and of course fun. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Sounds good.
Okay, moving on. Now that we have talked about, what we loved about the season and what we want to improve and what the opportunities are, we want to now look to the future. What are we going to do differently? How we're going to tackle season 2, and what are some of the opportunities for growth that we will be looking to? And our lovely Petre will kind of take us through that. And she's our social media guru, or the best of the three of us.
Communication
So
specialist.
yes. So take it away, Petre.
You know how people nowadays are in the business of saying they identify as this and they identify as that.
Yes.
I identify as a writer,
All right.
Not a communication specialist.
not anything except a writer. That's like who I am at
Not
my
a
core.
journalist. Not a journalist.
Not anything writer. That is my label. And I'm
Okay.
Okay,
to
ma'am.
it, yeah. But yes, ladies, I think the discussion that we had just now, I mean, the earlier part of this conversation about opportunities, that question that Carolyn presented, I think provides a nice segue for us to talk about, well, what's next for the podcast. And the first thing is, and we've discussed this off air, the fact that no matter what space you're operating in at this time, you do need to have a presence on social media. And so we have set up a Twitter account at Three Grown Girls. So you can feel free to check us out there, follow us, engage with us on whatever issues you want. I mean, there may be some ideas you have that you feel like we can take up. You can share them in that space. So
Or join the conversation, the topics that we present.
exactly. So that's the first order of business. It's first to get a little bit more active in the social media space. We are also looking to ensure that we have our tech story straight, so that when we
Oh,
come to you, we're coming to you with clarity, so that we don't have what we call in communications noise.
yes.
In this case, noise that is associated with technology that's not
Yeah.
working the way that we'd want it to work. And I rely on Sarah, who is really our tech guru.
Well,
For
kind of dark
this
for me, the tech guru, but anyway.
right? to sort us out, with me and Carolyn giving very minimal input on the text side, except to say yes, no, we can work with that. So yeah, we want to ensure that the tech is not does not compromise the quality of what we're presenting to folks. And then another side of it is that, as the ladies would have mentioned earlier, we have put our other episodes out to be proofed, and we've gotten really wonderful, rich feedback, and we're looking now to sort of better integrate some of that. I mean, Sarah and Carolyn would have talked about or wanting to be a little bit sharper in terms of our timing for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have some brilliant ideas as well about topics that they feel we should pursue, and so we're looking to
Right.
put all of that on board um, for this year. Is there anything I'm missing, ladies, in terms of our?
Yeah, just to piggyback on what you talked about with the tech, that's a moving target. We're really trying. We didn't know it was so complex in terms of mic. We've bought mics and sent back to Amazon and really doing our research. And some of it we're not even able to detect what's happening. We just keep trying. Like me, sometimes I dip in, dip out. Sometimes Carolyn goes missing. But we're really trying because we really believe in this podcast and we want the sound to be very crisp. So we keep working at that. We're thinking about distributing the podcast on other platforms. The only challenge is that, ladies, drum roll, we lose our songs.
We
So
don't
the
want
app
to
that we
copyright our
record
song.
on,
Yeah.
the app we record on, it links to Spotify, and so we'd have to lose "Feel the Rain on Your Skin" if we want to go to Amazon and Apple with the podcast. So we're thinking about that as to how we can keep our songs on Spotify and while distributing on other platforms. And P, we did talk about that we might have a guest or two in season two.
Yeah, that's the
You
plus one
know,
that we talked about earlier.
We
yeah, our
mentioned
other
it,
guests
man.
too.
We did.
Yeah, our
Yeah,
other guests as well that we may have
yeah,
from time to time. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's it for
Lovely.
me for season two.
I,
I don't
I
know about you,
also
Carolyn.
think in terms of engagement, I really want to engage with our
Oh
audience more.
yes,
I want
yes.
them to feel a part of the conversations and to enjoy the conversations as we do. And of course, to have opinions and share your experiences with us too. Because the idea,
Yeah,
remember, is to share experiences. So while we talk as friends and we know each other's experiences, we kind of want to know what's going on with people out there, people who,
yeah. What's
you
going on
know,
with you guys?
yeah,
Yeah,
what's going on with you guys and have that association. So we're really looking forward to more engagement. We're hoping to hear from you more, and we will try to include and incorporate our audience in the conversations a lot more.
yeah. 100%, 100%.
Right. So,
But it. Mm-hmm.
I think that's an excellent note to actually end this podcast on. Um, we want to hear
Yeah,
from people this
yeah. I
year.
want to thank all the persons that have been listening and that have been sharing the podcast. Thank you for coming along for the ride and stay with us as we grow,
And
go
glow.
grow and glow. We may have to rename the podcast to Finding Petre.
Oh no, no, we're not gonna get that. This is not a Finding Nemo episode. No, no, no.
Yo, but seriously though, when we find her, she show up. You understand? Fully and ready and engaged, but we have to
We have to go hunting.
but
See, in Jamaica we have this saying that say if you want good, your nose have to run.
Yep.
oh yes,
So
yes,
yeah,
girl.
that's
And we
just
knows
that
I
mental.
run.
Uh-huh.
But so that's bye from me. This is
Yeah.
Sarah speaking, signing off, saying live loved. What you guys have to say?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.